Good day, folks, and welcome back to Ed's Garage at Merton Hyundai. Today we are looking at a new year and a new trim level. This is the 2023 Elantra Luxury. So they brought back the luxury trim. This is, of course, no different really from the 2022 models in regard to like styling and whatnot. However, the features are a little bit different. So what you would normally get on the Ultimate for the 22 model, a lot of that stuff is in this one. And as a matter of fact, some of the tech features like the 10-inch screen with navigation, etc. are in there as well. So first off, before I get started, I want to apologize. I've got a brand new phone. I don't know what the stabilization's like on this phone yet. So hopefully it's good. If not, again, sorry. And also, I don't have an external mic yet. There's no headphone jack on this phone. Unfortunately, they went the way of Apple and got rid of the headphone jack on these. So eventually I'll have a Bluetooth one. So again, apologize if the sound and the stabilization is not very good. Otherwise, hopefully everything looks good. So let's get into it. So we're going to start with the styling. Now, this one, of course, is going to look very much like the 2022 model Ultimate on the outside. I don't think they've really changed anything on the outside at all. Tires and wheels all look the same, but let's start with the front end here. So you got this really nice grille that kind of flows into the headlights. Of course, these are a projection headlight. They're not they're not LEDs or anything like that on this trim level. For that, you got to go up to the Ultimate. If we have a look at what those look like when they're on, you can see they are a regular halogen, but they're at least projection headlights. You do have the nice little LED daytime running light here. Now, it doesn't actually flash like that in person, guys. Anytime you see LEDs on a camera, they're going to tend to do that just because there's a different refresh rate on the camera versus the LEDs. Down here, you got the air curtain pass-through, which of course creates that nice curtain of air over the wheels, reducing aerodynamic drag and making this a very fuel-efficient vehicle at only about 6.5 liters per 100 kilometers. The wheels on this are an aluminum alloy. They're a 17-inch. I think they look pretty good. Wrapped in Kumo Majesty tires. So it's a 225 45 R17. On the mirrors, you can see we've got the marker lights on the outside, which is a nice touch. You got the blind spot monitor there as well. This is, of course, proximity entry, so that's the button there. And there's also a little LED light that comes on as you approach the vehicle at night. Looking at the side profile of the Elantra, of course, it still has that really cool Z-cut line in the doors. It's a really nice profile, nice looking vehicle. Very long. The Elantra actually has the largest in-class interior, and a lot of that comes from the fact that it's a very long vehicle. So even though this is a compact sedan, there's actually quite a bit of room in there. It rivals a lot of mid-size sedans. Now, at the back, you can see we've got the taillights that run all the way across the trunk here, and we got those I don't know if you call them fake exhaust tips or not, but they kind of resemble it a little bit. You can see the exhaust tip is actually just peeking out from the bottom there. But I don't think Hyundai was really going for the fake exhaust tip look here. I think that's just the way that they've styled that. So it looks pretty good though. Really nice striking styling in the back. Now, also you'll notice that the window, it almost looks like it comes down to here, but that's actually just black plastic as part of the deck lid. But what I really like about the back of the Elantra, of course, is the smart trunk. So without pressing any buttons whatsoever, trunk pops open because I've got the key with me. The trunk itself, very, very spacious. It's a huge trunk, lots of room in there, as you can see. And under the trunk floor on the Elantra, you do get a spare tire as well as the jack there. So that's what you'll find underneath. Now, the luxury trim does get the 60/40 split rear bench, so unlike lower trim levels, you can see we've got the split in the bench there, so fairly large pass-through as well, so if you're loading up larger items, there's lots of room to do so. Also, while we're here, you can see we've got the subwoofer there. Of course, this one does have the nicer audio system. That Bose audio system is an 8-speaker system with a front center speaker. Of course, it's got tweeters and the rear subwoofer. Really, really good audio. Let's jump in the back and see what we got back here. Now, as I mentioned, great space in this vehicle, both front and rear. As you can see, I've got lots of room in front of my knees here, even though I'm 6'2", and this seat in the front is set up where I would have it. Also, as you can see, we've got the center cup holder armrest here, and the center cup holder armrest actually locks in at this position. It doesn't flop around on the seat. Notice the interior. I love this interior. It is fantastic. This is called the two-tone melange interior. So you got this nice light gray leather. Of course, it is perforated, very comfortable. And then you got this nice kind of cloth on the doors, as well as the seat backs. It's a really, really attractive look. Also, the seat backs, as you'll notice, are solid. So any kicking of the seat is going to be non-transferable of energy to the person sitting in that seat. And also that protects the seat over its life as well. You got the cargo net on this side over here, nothing on this side, but then also on the doors you can see we've got bottle holders. Now in the Ultimate trim, you'll probably see rear heated seats, but as we haven't gotten one in yet, haven't actually been able to get a good look at one yet. So got grab handles on all but the driver's position, so nothing over there, but both the rear passengers and the front passenger get the grab handles. Right, having a look at the driver's door, you can see that two-tone really makes it stand out. It's a really striking look with the dark and light. And you also got the cloth in the front, of course, but it's flanked by these 3 stitch lines, which looks even better. Of course, you got the tweeter there, and you can see we've got the little Bose emblem for the Bose audio system. And look at this leather interior, guys. Absolutely gorgeous. And you got this almost, it's not quilted, but you know, the stitched lines on the front seats really, really looks good. Nice dark piping along the top here to make it stand out a little bit more. And of course you have the leather wrapped 4-spoke steering wheel. Really, really nice interior. Honestly, if you're looking at an Elantra, especially in the upper trims, I highly recommend this two-tone interior. It does a great job breaking up the monotony of black. All right, sitting in the Elantra. Now, this vehicle has actually really, really good sound deadening. It's a very quiet vehicle. It is also equipped with remote start, and the thing I love about the remote start is when you get into the vehicle, you don't need to then start the vehicle a second time. It just recognizes that the key is there, and when you put your foot on the brake, everything kind of comes to life. Speaking of coming to life, let's fire it up here. Now, I thought this was kind of funny here. I was just going to get set up for the camera so that it could move around easily, and I noticed that if I move the front seat back to its farthest position, I'm actually too far back to properly reach all of the controls and everything. You can see here, my legs are basically straight. I would not be able to drive in this position. So any of you really, really taller individuals, you're gonna love this car for the fact that it has quite a bit of headroom and an insane amount of legroom, especially in the front. So for that, it's fantastic. All right, having a look at the features in the Elantra. Now, on the left-hand side here, of course, you have your dimmer switch, your lane keep assist, and your traction control. As far as the left stock, that's your turn signal stock, you do have automatic headlights and also automatic high beams. Now, those only work if the headlights are on auto as well, so keep that in mind. You have the one-touch turn signal, so it'll flash by itself 3, 5, or 7 times, depending on how it's set up. On the steering wheel itself, you have all these controls here for your voice recognition. Now, it has built-in voice recognition, but also has, of course, Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. Now, those are wired still, so Hyundai still hasn't added wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto to this vehicle. Apparently, there's some sort of limitation with the software on the nav system screens. As you can see, this one, of course, does have navigation. And I just noticed, hitting the voice recognition, that they've changed that a little bit. So let's have a look. Navigate to the nearest Walmart.
Sorry, I didn't understand you. Please try your command again after the beep.
Find the nearest Walmart.
5 results found. Please say the look.
All right, so the navigation and voice recognition are definitely different. It still works basically the same way. I think what's changed really is just the visuals. So I tried saying it the wrong way the first time to see if they'd improved on the voice recognition, the natural speaking ability, but apparently it's more of just a visual. So you still have to say things in kind of the way that it expects to hear it. Obviously, with Android Auto or Apple CarPlay, you can speak to it in a much more natural voice, natural wording, or various different ways of saying things. That's the way I'd still recommend doing it. But it still works very, very well once you know what it's expecting to hear. All right, now having a look at the other side of the steering wheel, of course, you've got your cruise control here, and I'm happy to report it is adaptive cruise control. You've got your lane keep assist button here for low speed. So you've got high speed lane keep assist, which is automatic, and that by default will be on pretty much all the time unless you disable it. But this one here is off by default. So when you jump into the car after you've used this the last time, it will still be off the next time. So you do need to enable it. So that's low speed adaptive or lane keep assist, and then the high speed lane keep assist over 64 kilometers an hour. That'll always be there, assuming you haven't disabled the system. These two buttons here go through the various menus on the instrument cluster screen. So let's have a look at those, see if anything's changed. All right, so basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this button here to jump through the different menus, and then this button here to go up and down within the sub-menus on these screens. Now, one thing I am noticing is that it doesn't have a little icon indication up here as to which menu you're in. So they've gotten rid of that for some reason, but it's pretty obvious what menu you're in just based on what's on the screen. So if we go through these ones, we're going to go ahead and reset a lot of these. Obviously, 12.7 liters per 100 kilometers is inaccurate, so I'm using now the up and down button to kind of cycle through the menu and shut those things off. So our first one here, that was drive info, so that's the current drive. So when we started up the vehicle, it'll maintain information there about this particular drive. This one is accumulated, so it's like your trip A computer, which will reset as well. You also have your attention level, so they've moved that into this setting as well. So the attention level is how the car feels your attentiveness is based on how you've been driving it and how long you've been driving for. You got your tire pressure monitor, which again, they've also moved to this screen. So there's definitely a recalibration of how they've got the software listed here. So that's quite interesting. You got your current drive mode. So this vehicle, of course, does have various drive modes. So this screen that we're on is showing that we're currently in the smart mode, and it's in the eco version of the smart mode. If I press the drive mode button, you can see we can change the layout of the screen, but also sport mode, of course, gives the vehicle a bit more low-end kick and also tightens up the steering wheel. And there's the smart mode again. So normal, normal, sport, and smart mode. Smart is basically the replacement of eco mode in older vehicles. All right, next thing on the list is to select contents of this menu. So we're going to go ahead and do that by holding down this button. It's actually going to bring up the sort of configuration screen. So you can see a little check mark in the top right corner here, and I can actually go through and enable all of the different screens. Of course, we definitely want the digital speedometer. And if I wanted, I could turn a lot of these things off. But yeah, we're going to leave them all on. We're going to exit here now. And now when I go through this list, I've got our drive info, since our last fuel stop, accumulated info, digital speedometer, which we could probably switch to miles in the user settings. I don't see the option to do it right from this screen. And then now we also have the tire pressure monitor, or sorry, I guess we had that on there before, didn't we? All right, so that's all of the stuff in that particular screen. Now, if I hit that top button again, it's going to bounce us over to the next menu, which shows us our lane keep assist, and I can quickly jump into the settings for that by holding the OK button. But when I do that, it actually puts the settings over here because it's a lot more things to kind of go over. You can actually have highway drive assist turned on and highway auto speed change. Based on navigation data, it'll actually automatically adjust the speed that the cruise control is going if it detects like the sharp corner or something like that ahead. So that's pretty cool. Hitting that top button again takes us over to the compass. Now this is also where it's going to show us our navigation stuff. So for navigating somewhere, it's going to have like turn-by-turn directions and whatnot in this screen as well. And then it goes back over to this particular screen over here. All right, so that's pretty much everything with the instrument cluster. We're going to move on to the center console now. So having a look at the center console, reasonable amount of space. It's not huge, but it's not small by any means as well. We've got cup holders here and the little switch. So you can actually take this out. If you have really shallow cups, you spin this around, and then it basically gives you, well, once you put it in properly, there we go, gives you a shallower cup holder. And then if you got a really tall cup, you can spin this around to give it a nice deep cup holder. You got auto hold in this vehicle, which of course holds the vehicle in place when you let your foot off the brake. Power e-brake, which does disable itself when you put the vehicle into drive. And you've got the button for the backup camera. So now if we open up the backup camera, you can see it keeps the stereo on the one side here and probably other things as well. That's right. So check that out. So this is new. We've never had this before, where you can actually have different things show up on the right hand side while the backup camera is on. That's pretty unique. Let's put it into reverse here. Yeah, so it actually keeps the backup camera up. Now of course we have the dynamic steering lines, and we could change the view to a top-down view, which is pretty cool. And of course we can then customize some things on the backup camera as well, like the brightness, contrast, and whether or not we want it to stay on when we put the vehicle back into park or drive. All right, further forwards we have the wireless charging port, or wireless charging pad rather. That's a 15-watt wireless charger. It's actually vented. You can see the little vents there, so they keep this loose so that they can actually, you know, so it holds the phone up a little bit, and it can properly vent. You got a USB port. Sorry, get the phone under there. Let me just move this out of the way. USB port on the right hand side and a USB port for the center here. This one here will work for Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. This will charge phones and tablets. And then of course you have a 12-volt power outlet. This is like a higher wattage port. This one connects to the screen. So, and then moving up, we can see we've got the dual zone climate control. There's your heated seat or heated steering wheel button here. 2 heated seat buttons, of course, for front driver and passenger. Now the automatic climate control is quite nice in the fact that it has 3 levels of climate control, so different aggressiveness levels, so that's nice to see. We have hard buttons for all of the media controls for the stereo, including a volume knob, so thankfully they kept that because people really like the hard buttons. Personally I don't really care, but yeah, these are, I mean, ultimately they're a little bit nicer to use, but I find I just really don't hit the buttons on the screen when they're touch sensitive, or these for that matter, very often anyway, but to each their own. Now we've got a 10-inch infotainment screen here, and it is a non-polarized screen, which means if you wear polarized sunglasses, you'll still be able to see this screen just fine. Now I'm not going to get into too many details here on this screen, just because I've done that 1,000 times on all my other videos. This hasn't really changed much, with the exception of that voice recognition, extra visuals there. The mapping system still looks basically the same. You can put it into a 3D mode just like that. You can also have a night mode on here where it shows little stars along the top there. It's kind of cool. Switching over to the radio screen, you can see they still kept the vacuum tube system going here. You still got the presets along the bottom, which you can enable and disable with the little star here. So nothing's really changed here that much. So check out my previous videos on the 2022 Elantra Ultimate with Tech, and you'll see everything about this screen. I'll include that in the description below. Other things to note in here, you do have the automatic recirculation on windshield washer pull. So when you pull the windshield washer, it actually automatically recirculates the air, so you don't have to smell the windshield washer fluid, which is kind of nice. And you've also got the different user profiles, so you can actually set up the car for individuals who are driving that have different settings. So for instance, a husband and wife can have their own you know, settings for the radio, settings for the backlighting levels, and also even ambient lighting. So I wanted to show you that real quick. So it actually has different colors for ambient lighting. So we'll go into vehicle settings and then go to lights, ambient light. So you can see I've unlinked it from the drive mode and I've undimmed it in the dark because I want that as bright as possible. So they are technically on right now, but it's so bright out you can't actually see them. But you can change the color. Check this out. There's I think it's 256 different colors, or 64 different colors, or something like that. But that'll actually change ambient lighting under here, in the door pockets as well, and then I think down here as well. It's kind of tough to see right now, but there's also this really cool LED light strip that goes all the way along the bottom here. I'm going to zoom in on that, and maybe I can show you the different colors as we change it here. So check this out. It's purple now, and then we go into red, make it yellow. There, you can see it just changed to green. Again, very difficult to see right now because it's there it is right there, because it's quite bright outside and I can't quite focus in on it. But you get the idea. So that's actually one of the places that you'll be able to actually change the ambient lighting color. Now, I get a lot of questions about what this is right here. Well, on the Elantra, guys, on this particular trim level, this is nothing, okay? It doesn't actually do anything at all. If nothing else, though, what you can use it for is a spot to suction cup mount a phone. So some people have done that, or other devices like you know, GoPros or whatever. But it's a good place to suction mount stuff. But other than that, it has no function at all. This is just a design. In the N-line version of the vehicle, there's actually a drive mode button there. So in case you're wondering, this does nothing. Okay. Mirror on this one is manual. To get the auto dimming mirror, you got to go up to the ultimate trim. This one does have Blue Link, which is nice. So you got the SOS button there and the call for roadside assistance button. So Blue Link. So what that is it's our telematics system. So if you want to remote start the car from your cell phone, unlock the doors, lock the doors, find the car on a map, you get that all for free for 3 years. So that's pretty cool. Now it also includes automated emergency services. So if you get into an accident, it automatically calls emergency services to your location. And then of course the SOS button and the roadside assistance button. On top of that, in Canada anyway, you get 5-year 100,000 warranty on this vehicle. Covers almost everything, and 5 years of roadside assistance as well. Let's continue up on the roof liner here. So we've got the button for the sunroof. Of course, this one does have a sunroof, which is nice. And you can also extend it further back by pressing that button a second time, as you saw. So the reason it stops short the first time is in case the windows are closed. Basically what's going to happen, you're going to get that sort of helicopter buffeting effect. But if you got other windows open, you can press it again to open it up all the way. You have individual map lights here, and both of the sun visors slide out, which is nice. They both have mirrors and they both have lights. And that's pretty much it. I think that kind of covers everything on the inside of the car. Before I wrap up this video though, let's pop the hood and have a quick look at the engine. All right, so what we're looking at here is a 4-cylinder. It's a 2-liter 4-cylinder engine. Uses an Atkinson cycle for a little bit better fuel efficiency, but also it's Hyundai's Smart Stream system. So it's both fuel injected directly and through the multi-port injection system. So it's a dual injection system. So it has a little bit better burn for higher power and more fuel efficiency, and then also injecting it into the air intake in order to get a nice cleaner drivetrain. So basically, or valve train rather. So it actually sprays fuel in the air intakes in the multi-port system to dribble that fuel over the valves to keep them nice and clean. But also when you need direct injection for better fuel economy and power, it's able to do that as well. So it's pretty cool. Also under the engine bay, you'll notice we have breakaway motor mounts here. So in the event of a forward collision, engine actually drops down, gets it out of the way so it doesn't end up inside the vehicle, which is nice, of course. You can see a lot of this structural adhesive usage all along here, so that increases the strength of those weld points quite significantly. And it's just a very clean layout. I mean, you got lots of extra space all the way around the engine for maintenance and whatnot. And these do have a very, very reasonable maintenance schedule and maintenance cost. They're one of the cheapest cars to own in the industry. So not only is the upfront vehicle price very reasonable and very, very competitive, it's got great fuel economy, and the maintenance isn't very expensive at all. And to boot, you get a great warranty. All right, and that pretty much concludes this video, guys. Again, sorry for the audio quality, and hopefully the stability of the camera is decent, but if not, again, I apologize for that. Thank you for making it this far. I really appreciate the support. If this video helped you out at all, if it helped you make a decision, or if it showed you a particular feature you weren't aware of, please hit like and subscribe, and I'd love your comments below. I do try to answer every single comment if possible. But yeah, thanks again for watching, and have a wonderful, wonderful day.